What's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler, and I know it's been a long time since I've last posted a video with just my beautiful or not so beautiful face, depending on how you look at it. It's other than the Chips podcast. But by the way, if you haven't checked that out, myself and my good buddy Ryan Amick, we do whenever we can, really, just depending on timing and our conflicting schedules a lot of the time, talking about what's going on in the world of sports. Most recently, we did a boom or bust 2-part episode talking about fantasy football for the last decade. And I'll leave the links for the full playlist down below in the description of this video. But that aside, with training camp starting today, July 28th, for the NFL 2020 season, I'm going to start a new trend. I'm going to try to post one video a day for the next 32 days, previewing each NFL team for this upcoming season. So, with that being said, I'm going to go in alphabetical order. So, that means the Arizona Cardinals are up first. Year 2 of Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. Last year, they finished 5-10-1. They had that one tie against the, who was it? Oh, yeah, the Lions. That's who it was in week 1. That was a really odd game because the Lions blew that lead, if you remember. And the Cardinals came back. Murray looked like phenomenal. Kyler Murray went on to finish as Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. Played phenomenally. And in the second season, the expectations have been raised. There are now expectations with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, a top 2 wide receiver, in my opinion, to play opposite of the ageless wonder Larry Fitzgerald along with Christian Kirk. He's got some weapons to throw to. Kenyon Drake at running back performed really well after being traded to Arizona late last season following a slow start in Miami. Now he gets a full season to play in that offense, although he won't get a full offseason, but I think it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And Cliff Kingsbury's offense and his system, it fits perfectly for Kyler Murray. The only other guy who might fit better for is Patrick Mahomes, who Cliff Kingsbury coached in college. But Murray, he just fits well. His skills of being a guy who could roll out of the pocket and run, as well as he's a pretty solid passer despite his size. He fits this offense beautifully, like I've said, and he's now got some of the weapons to throw to and utilize. I think the addition of Kenyon Drake last season and the subtraction of David Johnson, I think, will be huge for his development as well. Because David Johnson, although I love him in fantasy, like I've taken him each of the last 3 seasons, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he is not dependable all the times because of the injury issues. Drake, hopefully he stays healthy because he could, I think, be a reliable safety net for Murray and either check down in the passing game or just to hand off to and keep the defense off balance. There are also some interesting pieces on this defense. Patrick Peterson, although getting up there in age, still a very good corner. Chandler Jones, one of the top pass rushers in the entire NFL. Jordan Phillips has performed well so far in his career. And they also had the 8th overall pick in this past year's draft, Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson. The guy, he was considered one of the best prospects in the entire draft. Could have possibly gone as high as number 4 to the Giants, although obviously they passed on him because he fell to 8 to the Cardinals. He could be used as an edge rusher. He could be used as a middle or outside linebacker. There's also been rumors that he could possibly play safety for this team given his range and speed. He will be an interesting piece. And with teams like the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks in that NFC West with the Cardinals, he could definitely cause some headaches for opposing offensive coordinators. Looking at the Cardinals' schedule, it's not too scary, but they play the 49ers to start off week 1. Then they go to Washington. Week 3 versus Detroit at home. Week 4 at Carolina. Then they go to the Jets and the Cowboys. That week 4 to 6 stretch, that will be a testy one. All on the road, a lot of travel. The Panthers and Jets shouldn't be too much of an issue in terms of opponents, but that leads up to the Cowboys. And if the Cardinals get caught looking ahead to Dallas in week 6, they could possibly lose some of those games to Carolina and the Jets. Then they finish off their first half of their schedule or so, week 7 versus Seattle at home. They have their bye week, week 8. Then they come out of the bye. They've played Miami and Buffalo at home, weeks 9 and 10. Then they go on the road to Seattle, on the road to New England, at home versus the Rams in week 13, back cross country to the Giants in week 14, and then they finish 2 of their final 3 games are at home. At home against Philly week 15, at home against the 49ers week 16, and on the road at the Rams in week 17. I have them going 9-7. I'll leave it down below the full schedule and which games I think they'll win and lose, so you can see that. But I have them going 9-7, missing the playoffs, but given the fact that they were 5-10-1 the year prior, a 4-win improvement is really good. I think the 49ers game week 1 is going to be a close one. I don't think they could win it, per se, but I do think it will be close, just given the craziness of this offseason, how good this offense projects to be, and then how good that defense for the 49ers has proven to be. I mentioned week 6 against Dallas on Monday Night Football, mind you, to take on the Cowboys. This will be a fun game to watch, and I think the Cardinals could give the Cowboys a run for their money. I actually have them losing this game to Dallas, but it's definitely a game that will be of note just because for both teams, this could be a telltale sign for the Cardinals in their second half of their season, and this could be a telltale sign for the Cowboys if they start slow, especially. And I think entering that game, if they can enter this game 4-1 or 3-2, they will have a definite shot of pulling out a win because they'll be riding that momentum. But I don't think they will. They're still a little early. After their Week 8 bye, they will play Miami at home, and that should be a win. Week 9, they play Buffalo, like I mentioned, at home. Then they go on a short week to Seattle. That will be interesting. Those two games will probably be losses. I actually do have them losing to Buffalo and losing to Seattle in those games. And just not because of the talent, but I think you play Buffalo, who is on defense a really tough team and look to be improved on offense with Josh Allen and those guys, John Brown, Stephon Diggs. But then you have to go on a short week, travel to Seattle, which is never a fun place to play, especially if there are fans allowed. There are rumors that fans might not be allowed for the first few weeks and then they come back. Who knows? It's going to be tough. Week 10, but after week 10, I can see the Cardinals 4 out of their final 6 games, especially since 3 of those games are at home, including one against the 49ers. Those could easily be wins. They'll be in the conversation for a wild card spot, especially since now the NFL is shifting to 17 playoffs in both conferences. Could definitely be one where the Cardinals could sneak in. I don't have them making it, as I mentioned, but who knows? The crazier things have happened in the NFL. Overall, if I was planning on going to a Cardinals game this season, here are the 5 games I'm most interested in. Week 1 at San Francisco. Week 6 at Dallas. Week 7 at home versus Seattle. Week 10 at home versus Buffalo. And Week 15 at home against the Eagles. I mentioned the first 4 games. The Week 15 against the Eagles is just one of those things where the Eagles are going to be fighting for a division crown in the NFC East late in the year. The Cardinals could be fighting for a wildcard spot. This game could prove to be crucial. I do have the Cardinals winning this game, and that could be a momentum booster into Week 16 against the 49ers. Definitely one to watch there. And I think the thing with the Cardinals is just their season will be predicated on whether or not Kyler Murray improves. If he takes a step back, I think they have a serious issue. I don't think he will. I think he will continue to take a step forward. But if he were to take a step back, it could be trouble for Kyler Murray, trouble for that Arizona Cardinals offense and their front office and their whole organization, and especially trouble for Cliff Kingsbury because he didn't have a winning record during his time at Texas Tech as their head coach. He, I guess you could say, underperformed his first season, although they went from the number 1 pick to number 8 pick in the NFL, 2 wins to 5 wins. Can't say that's too bad. But then to not even be close to the playoffs, I think that would be, if they finish 500 or worse, definite trouble for that team. If they finish above 500, I don't think anyone will be like, oh, that was a total failure for the Cardinals. Because the NFC, there are some really good teams. Teams like, you have to, just in their own division alone, they have Seattle and San Francisco, who project to be 2 of the top teams in the NFC. Then there's New Orleans. Then there's Philadelphia, Dallas, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, on and on. Minnesota, Green Bay, on and on and on. The Cardinals, there's just nowhere for them to fit. They just will need to get off some wins. I think for them to have success, Kyler Murray needs to play well, which means DeAndre Hopkins needs to play well, Kenyon Drake needs to play well. If their big 3 can't perform on offense, the Cardinals can go a long, long way. So, tell me what you think. I'll leave the full schedule, the wins and losses down below in the comments, in the description, so you guys can make your picks on where the Cardinals, how they'll do this season. Tell me what you think. Will the Arizona Cardinals make the playoffs in 2020? Sorry, my camera keeps shaking. I got a really poor table. And also let me know what do you think of this idea of my 32 straight days, 32 NFL team previews? I hope you guys enjoy this series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Atlanta Falcons number 2. 32 days, 32 teams. Have a good one, everybody.